Kick Vic now has finally some level of evidence to back up their claims against Vic Mignogna. You see, June 5th, a few days ago, Michelle released a few pictures, and we'll talk about those pictures, what they entail, and if they're even authentic in this video. I will also give you a brief refresher on who Michelle is and why she's involved with the Vic Mignogna situation. A number of people are very skeptical about these images that Michelle has released, and they have done some research on them and are claiming that they are photoshopped, fabricated. We'll be talking about that in this video, as well as hypothetically, if the images are real, what it means for Vic Mignogna and the case moving forward. But before we get into all that, I have something very special to show you guys. You see, this video is sponsored by SwordGuy.com. Instead of rolling my intro like I normally do, let me show you about a 1-minute segment where we take a look at something absolutely freaking awesome. SwordGuyStore.com, do you know what it is? You probably do, but if you're out of the loop, let me fill you in and get you in the loop. SwordGuyStore.com, where the swords are real, functional, full tang, and sharp from your favorite video games, anime, and more. That's right, swords based off anime and video games and more that are fully functional, not just a little prop. You're talking about fully functional weaponry. Let me show you what I was sent. Oh my god, it is gorgeous. This is a real sword, a real katana. And this katana in particular, you might recognize if you're a fan of Samurai Jack. Yes, this is Samurai Jack's holy katana. One that's very sentimental to me. I love Samurai Jack. Covered season 5 on my YouTube channel, so it just seems really fitting to go with this one. But he has a ton of great products on the site. It was still a tough choice. Okay, for this next part, I want to try some Iado with the weapon, but keep in mind, I'm in my house. I gotta be careful not to hit the ceiling. Also, this belt is not the proper belt for a katana. And this is also the first time I've ever done Iado or Noto with a real sword. So keep that all in mind. But unlock, new Kitsuke, Kiryoshi, and Noto. Luckily, I didn't chop my arm off. Anyways, in closing, I need to show you that Sword Guy did actually send what I believe is the Sagyo, attaches to the saya here, and that is how you would attach it to your gi, your kimono, your belt, whatever. I have no idea how to do that though, so I'll have to look that up later. But here's a close-up of the blade itself for those who are curious. Look at that beautiful, beautiful blade right there. I am in love with this weapon. Sword Guy, thank you so much. Let's get back to the Vic Mignogna stuff and Michelle. So if you're not familiar with Michelle's story, or if you are and just want a refresher, let me do that for you right now. This occurred allegedly in the sophomore year of high school for her. She was cast in a spring play where her teacher brought a 26-year-old talent assistant director on to help out, and that person indeed was allegedly Vic Mignogna. Vic apparently worked as a cameraman at the church associated with the private Christian school. Michelle alleges that Vic would stay after rehearsals and help her work on her character. She claims to have had a girlish crush on him. After the play and school year ended, she alleged that Vic would stop by her summer job, and one afternoon while she was riding a bike, he stopped her and asked her to work on a worship video with him or to watch a worship video with him. This is all greatly paraphrased, but you'll get the idea of the story. She followed him to his house. She then alleges that Vic did show her the video, and his roommate eventually got upset about Michelle being there when he found out how old she was. She then alleges that she stayed regardless, and Vic then put his arms around her once the roommate left, and then went to stick his tongue in her ear and said, "Let's just enjoy each other," when she wanted to leave. When she continued to protest and want to leave, Vic got angry and upset and told her, "Fine, get out." She claims she didn't want to tell anyone about this because the entire town was tied up in the ministry that Vic was associated with. And finally, at the end of this statement, she left a picture of an article from 1989 with Vic Mignogna's name credited as Rooster. So originally, that was the only evidence that she had going along with her story, this picture of an article from 1989. Well, now, as of a few days ago, again on June 5th, Michelle has released a statement more or less saying that she came across some photos while packing. And while she doesn't want to give evidence to the people who demand proof, she does want to share these photos allegedly because she wants to show them to the people who have been kind and supportive. Now, personally, I think giving the proof to everyone, regardless of how they really acted, is a wise idea. You will maybe build some more allies depending on how concrete the proof is. And on that note, how concrete is this proof? Let me explain what exactly the photos are first of all. So you have photo number 1, which shows a few people in an image from the Mousetrap, which was allegedly a play that they worked on at that school. at that Christian school that Michelle claims to have attended. So they worked on this play, The Mousetrap. One of the photos shows 3 people. One of those people, apparently, Michelle claims is her as Miss Casewell. Now, I will admit, doesn't look like a 16-year-old to me, but that is what it is. Some people don't look their age. That's fine. In the background of that photo is another woman who is apparently one of the teachers, and that's important because the next photo shows that teacher sitting down, shows someone else who I don't know behind them holding up a sign, Monkwell Manor, which I believe is the play that they were doing, and then it shows Vic Mignogna leaning against what looks like a fireplace. Before we get into the various people online who have been debunking this photo, I'm just going to claim right now I don't know if the photo is authentic or not. I don't know for a fact, but a lot of people on social media have been pointing out very interesting inconsistencies with the photo that make it skeptical. However, I'm going to take a different approach. Let's assume that the photo is actually authentic. So what? If it's authentic, it really doesn't prove anything at all. It proves that Vic was a nice looking young dude and he's aged well. And that's really about it. Even if the photo is hypothetically accurate, all it shows is Vic Mignogna leaning against a fireplace and that he worked on this play. That's really about it. So take that as you will. But now let's roll into the segment of the video where we talk about the people who have been trying to debunk the photo. I have a shout out for @HammerMore, also known as Gallon Dunn on Twitter, who studied the images and had something to say about them. He wrote, Michelle has returned with 2 pictures. Neither of them are time or date stamped. However, one of them appears to show Vic Mignogna, the man she alleges assaulted her either in 1988 or 1989. She can't seem to decide, so we'll focus on that one. Again, this is the words of HammerMore. I'll leave a link to his Twitter profile in the description if you want to check this out. Probably a good idea, so you can also see the images, but let me finish here. If you looked at this wrong, he goes on to say, if you looked at this and thought something was wrong, you'd be correct. For one thing, a level sweep shows that Vic is nowhere near as illuminated as the others are. The 2 to his left are bright, while even his light blue shirt is showing up dark. His skin may be darker, but that doesn't explain how the lighting on him looks like it's coming from one direction as opposed to how the others are evenly lit in the picture, also demonstrated by Jordan Eshelman. Also a shout out to Jordan Eshelman. You guys surely know who he is. I'll leave a link to his description, to his Twitter in the description as well. If you don't know who Jordan Eshelman is, he's been a great help on the Twitter front for IStandWithVic. Definitely been a huge asset to the community. Gallon then continues to write, at Exile1994-1 in Canvas Pirates thread. So a number of people have been, researching this and trying to see if it's real or not. Also pointed out that there are clear areas of suspicious darkness around Vic's cheekbones. This makes it appear as if Vic's face has been pasted onto somebody else's body, plus the stubble ends too smoothly. It really doesn't make much sense looking at this picture. A friend of mine on Discord also pointed out that the hair looks weird. That by itself isn't much to go on since this is a multi-generational photo, original negative, print, camera, JPEG on Twitter, but just you wait, things are getting stranger. Over the last few months, I've become familiar with how the clone stamp looks when used to draw lines on grainy film, and this is exactly how it looks. Now back to the hair, assuming that this is the play Michelle was referring to in the story. Here is a picture from Jordan Eshelman found that was taken during Annie, which was a March production in 1989. Notice the length of Vic's hair. Also note how massive Vic's hands are. Interesting. Gotta say, Vic has aged very well. He certainly has. He doesn't look too much different from these old photos. It's crazy. Now back to the hair from Michelle's picture. This would be August. See how Vic's hair is a completely different color, darker as is his skin, to how it was in March. It's also at least 5 inches longer than it was back in March. Human hair grows approximately 6 inches per year. Now let's look at Vic's feet. Look at the leg of the chair on the opposite side of the legs. Now look at Vic's legs. His shin is disappearing through the chair. Also, his calves are also messed up, and his left foot kind of disappears. And then you come across this section where it becomes pretty clear that the entire body was added in. The edges just don't blend properly. This section of the sign looks like they used a recolor tool to try and put a shadow in where Vic's head is supposed to be blocking the light emitted by a wall fixture. Problem is, it's definitely edited in which you can tell that when you zoom into the picture. Also, this section looks iffy. Also pointed out that the section around the leg, a shadow wouldn't normally be cast like that. The gradation is too soft to be a shadow, even with additional lighting. Pointed out by Jordan Eshelman. A few more things to note here. Issues with the coloring on Vic's hands. The gradation is too smooth to be a tan line and also too smooth to be lighting. Another thing pointed out by Jordan Eshelman, the lighting around him is all off. I'm just going to start skipping through here. It's too much. To conclude, this photo looks like a bad Photoshop. Also, a quick question. Why did Michelle use a completely different font and size for the numbers of this image? And then he goes on to thank some people. Oh, he even gives me a tag there. Thank you, Gallon. I appreciate that. So again, links to Jordan Eshelman and HammerMore's profiles in the description so you guys can take a look at those photos yourself. And I have some shout outs now for the video. Montreal's attorney terminated with a question mark because we really don't know if he was terminated or if it's a bug or what. Interesting video though, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Shouts out to Michael Rule, Mr. Anime343, Random Fandom, Richard Eagle, Lacus12365547, Sun Pan, and Paragon Langston of Amped Guard. Thank you for helping to promote that video over on Twitter. If anyone would like to promote this one over there, much appreciated, and got you with a shout out in the next video as well. And if anyone posts it off Twitter, many thanks as well for that. I just don't know where it's posted except when it's posted on Twitter. My system is rather limited. But there's other things you can do to help the channel out if you'd be so inclined. Leave a thumbs up on this video, comment down below. Of course, also subscribe if you're not, have the notification bell turned on. All that stuff certainly helps. I appreciate it. If you'd like to do a bit extra, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon. Link in the description. You get some cool perks back. And lastly, feel free to join our Discord server if you would like to chat in real time. 3K plus members. We'd love to see you there. I'll catch you next time.